Make your life better with a new job at UPS. Join Team Louisville as a warehouse worker, earn $14.50 plus up to $425 in weekly bonuses depending on shift. Search and apply now at upsjobs.com/Louisville. That's upsjobs.com/Louisville.
CarMax is hiring experienced auto technicians for many of its 200-plus stores nationwide. If you're looking for a job where you can make a great living while working on the cars that you love, then CarMax is the place for you. Join CarMax to grow your technical expertise and work with state-of-the-art tools and technology. Work with the cars you love. Join CarMax. Apply today at CarMaxAutotech.com.
Exmark makes the mowers that care for the lawns that set the stage for the backyard life. As the commercial mowers more landscape pros trust, Exmark mowers get you on and off the lawn without compromising cut quality, comfort, or reliability. Exmark, official mowers of the backyard life, starting at $29.99. Learn about the available finance offers and check them out today at The Mower Shop, 7400 Preston Highway, Louisville, Kentucky, 502-969-6433.
Welcome back into the drive here on 93.9 The Ville. Mark Ennis, Mark Blankenbaker. 8150-939 is the number if you want to get in here. 3831-939 for the UPS Jobs text line. If you want to hit us up that way, you can. We are now just a couple of days, again, from name, image, likeness rights being here for athletes across the country. And Mark Emmert, in sort of the way he does things, we have now, with the way that they have framed things, it's going to be recommended, or it's being recommended. It'll be passed on Wednesday. It'll become the rule across the country one day before it was about to be legal in a bunch of states anyway. And because Emmert is so good at his job, the states now with no laws will actually have fewer restrictions than the states with laws. Right.
Yeah.
So he actually somehow managed to turn that thing upside down, which is
so we just need
amazing.
Governor Beshear to rescind his executive order now. Is that what I'm hearing? Or his executive order wasn't all that restrictive. There were just a few things.
Right.
So we're probably okay.
But look, no. Look, the states that don't have anything are going to do the exact same thing.
I know. Yeah.
There's
so
not
weird.
Really much of an
it's
advantage.
so
It's
weird.
just it's very him. It's very on brand to somehow find a way to turn this thing upside down. We have been asking you and I multiple times here. We have been asking about will Louisville, with Luke McCaffrey not coming now, is Louisville going to add a quarterback here before fall camp gets here? And we have speculated, look, maybe the transfer might show up somewhere. Maybe you try and get Chubba Purdy to come. I'm saying Brock Purdy. That'd be something.
Brock Purdy.
That would be something. Chubba Purdy, that sort of thing. But Louisville did go ahead and add a quarterback over the weekend for this upcoming season, and it is junior college quarterback Brock Doman. And he is, look, I think what Louisville ended up doing with two positions, the corner, from last week, and now this quarterback as well. You get a JUCO kid who is maybe right on the edge of being able to graduate right now, and that's what they did. And basically this kid's now able to sort of come to Louisville right away instead of having to wait until maybe in December or something like that. He can come right now. And, look, I am not a scout. I feel like I kind of know what I'm looking at when I watch most players play, but I'm not a scout. But he looks fine. If he has to play, that's probably not great necessarily, but it's better than this is so lame. It's better than nothing. And he looks fine. He looks totally fine.
Yeah.
And I would much rather would see Malik Cunningham and Evan Conley than him, but he's not. He probably is a better thrower than Luke McCaffrey was. But he's not an athlete like Luke
He's not
McCaffrey
a runner like McCaffrey.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree too. Watching his film, Brock Doman. I don't think he's the plan.
Right.
He's a player that if he develops, great. If he doesn't, then fine. But they're gonna have at least something. And I think it's Evan Conley or Shai Werts. If we get into a pickle, those are the two guys that I expect to see Louisville play at quarterback this season. Brock Doman, maybe, I suppose. If he hits campus and lights it on fire, then we've discovered something here. I think that what he can do though is you have a lot of practice reps. You don't want to have a whole bunch of dudes doing that, and injuries do happen in college football, and also guys develop really quickly in college football. So he looks like he could throw pretty well. He's not the plan. They still need to go out there and land the bona fide quarterback. I think Caleb Johnson is a great
I think he looks good.
I like him. I like him a lot, but he's not going to be here this year.
Right.
And so we're going to have to wait till 2022 for him, and we'll see what happens. They need a plan at quarterback. Brock Doman's not the plan.
I think if you're them, what you're hoping is that you get Malik Cunningham to come back next year too.
I think that's the idea.
And you sign Caleb Johnson and bring him along slow.
Yeah. I was asking, there was I did like a podcast thing with a national guy that's about to come out, I guess over the summer in July or something like that. And he was saying Malik Cunningham's coming back, right, for like 2022. And I was like, yeah, I mean, where's he going? I was like, are you hearing anything? Or is anybody talking about him in the NFL? And the thing is, there's not a G League to the NFL. There's not a development system. I mean, I suppose he could play in the CFL, but why? You would play college football as long as you can. Give yourself as long of a runway as possible to attract.
He could totally play in the CFL, though.
He could.
That's a good call.
He could totally play there. He would be great there, actually. But, in the end, like, you've got to attract that type of – he's also not going to give up his dream to play in the NFL. And if he has a great season this year, maybe. I don't know. But, like, I think he's coming back for 2022. Gives Louisville and him a longer runway. But they do need to find their plan at quarterback for the future.
I mean, are you okay with that plan? If Malik comes back next year and you sign Caleb Johnson and you've got TJ Lewis that you can take your time with, and Caleb Johnson comes in and is the future after that? Are you all right with that?
I'm okay with it, but I also don't want them to.
And Evan Conley, by the way.
And Evan Conley, but like if they've got Brian Brom.
Right.
Like if they've got a Teddy or they've got a Lamar, I want them to find a guy like that. In the end, I want them to find the dude that like is the face of the program for the next 3 years. I want them to find that guy, and right now Malik Cunningham is that guy. I guess the point is like Malik Cunningham is a good college quarterback that's only going to take Louisville so far, and I think everybody's aware of that. So I want them to go and find the Teddy, the Lamar, the Brian Brom, the Chris Redmond, the Dave Ragone, the Stephon LaFours. I want them to find the next one of those guys, Jay Gruden, Brownie Nagel, Jeff Brom.
Right.
All the guys that have played here and that we have a track record of getting and having lead our program. I want them to go and find that next guy to lead the program forward with.
What do you think the issue is there?
It's probably their track record, coming from App, and, that could be that you're at a power level. It's a bigger position of transfer now, I think, with the one-time transfer. But, Chris Redmond chose Louisville over Illinois, had to decommit, Jeff Brom, Tennessee. I mean, Teddy over Miami, Lamar over Florida. So there's, they're picking John L. Smith and Bobby Petrino and Charlie Strong and guys like that. And I don't know, was their track record better at that point in time than Scott Satterfield's? To me, like Scott Satterfield has a great track record with Taylor Lamb, right? Like if you could point to Taylor Lamb and say, look, that guy had a great college career. And then they'll say, where was he in the NFL? Those are great stats. Like he should have played in the NFL. And so then you're looking at, well, now what are you doing with Malik Cunningham? Well, where's he in the NFL? Like where is he in the NFL? Like I don't see him in mock drafts. And so that could really be played against, even though we've got lots of yardage and points and all this stuff. I'm just guessing. I think Caleb Johnson could be a really nice player for Louisville. We'll see how these guys translate. Sometimes they get to campus and they just don't pan out. TJ Lewis, we'll see. We haven't seen him at all.
I think they'd love for him to end up somewhere else, honestly. Like, he's a really nice athlete, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that they
outside
really,
linebacker?
Oh, somewhere on offense, right.
Oh, on offense?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think linebacker, I didn't know
you don't think he'll be a quarterback? Well, like when they brought in Marcus Smith, he ends up a defensive end. They bring in Kerry Rhodes.
No, I don't think
safety.
it's that. No.
Yeah.
I think they think he's a skilled offensive player. I just don't know that they necessarily think long-term he's a quarterback.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Although I like him.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked his tape, but I haven't. It's June, so I haven't seen anything.
Right.
I'd love to see him play. I like this, but it's so hard to watch these guys come in from high school. But if you recruit him at quarterback, then I think you keep him there, especially now with one-time transfer.
Sure.
Like if you move him Like
just
if you
leave,
you
right?
can't do what happened with Reggie Bonifant.
Right. We just keep moving him around. The guy will just leave.
He'll just go somewhere else where he can play quarterback.
Yeah, in the era of the one-time transfer, although he was local, maybe he wouldn't have, but generally speaking, that guy, he probably would have just gone somewhere to be quarterback, right?
That's what I would think. I would imagine that like a Reggie Bonifant, even if he's local, would stick around.
Right.
Like, oh, you want me at wide receiver, you want me at running back, I came here to play quarterback here, and I realized, and I think Reggie would know. Look, Lamar Jackson's here. Like,
I spent that whole summer advocating for him to be the quarterback.
And Lamar Jackson was
and
there.
Lamar was there the whole time, yeah. And I was right because he started that game.
Well, they both
What
did.
I'm hearing is you were right.
I was right. He won the
He
quarterback
played
competition.
a whole half.
And then he fumbled, and he didn't run hard, and Bobby said he looked tired.
That he looked tired.
You remember that?
I do remember
And then
that.
it's like, yeah, you're dead to me now.
And he never played again, and it was Kyle Bolin and Lamar Jackson. That was it. We never
spent
looked
a
at.
full year debating Lamar or Kyle Bolin.
It's a ridiculous thing now.
Of
But
course
the
it
thing
is.
is like in October, Lamar wasn't ready.
No, it was
Lamar was
backyard ball, and Bobby hated it.
And it wasn't really until the Pittsburgh game.
That's right.
That Lamar really turned it on, and he almost brought them all the way back, and they ended up losing that game. Kyle started. There was a huge. One guy had like 6 sacks in that game for Pitt.
Oh, it was it was
was
an
that
awful
guy?
game. And then they put him back in, or they put Lamar in the second half, and they almost came back.
Yeah,
They lost, I think, about 42-35, something like that.
something like that. And it was close.
And then Kyle still started the Kentucky game. They fell behind again.
One of my favorite Lamar moments ever. Pittsburgh had cheerleaders, and they were kind of giving the quarterbacks hell, and they did it the whole time. And I was out there watching Lamar, and they were on the way to the tunnel, and so Lamar walked by the Pitt cheerleaders, and as he did it, he goes 8, 6, 2, 5.
He was, for those of you who can't figure it out, he was rating the cheerleaders. That's very, very funny. That's extremely
And they were
funny.
They thought it was hilarious.
That's very funny.
They got the joke pretty good.
Texture says, is Conley healthy? I think so. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, from what I understood, they don't think he'll miss any time in camp. That he's okay. That it's something that he's definitely got like a little thing, but it's not anything that they're really all that worried about.
By the way, I did listen to was it Michael McCann's the sports law guy that with Sportico. Now he was on with Levitard this morning, and they'd asked him, is Lamar possibly losing out on money by not having an agent? The debate there, discussion
I don't think so.
We've had around here, and he basically said maybe. He said really what Lamar is missing out on is not salary from the Ravens, but the other things that an agent will proactively go get for you,
right?
And already have kind of grooved relationships with various outlets to be able to do that sort of thing. And the other thing that he brought up is in a crisis, if something were to happen, that's when your agent springs to action for you. And so Lamar is sort of, it's like driving without insurance. Like he doesn't have that person to do that.
Yeah.
But if like Lamar is so low key, he's never in any trouble. He never is around anybody like nothing. So if Lamar doesn't want to give up X amount of money for agents, he said, look, if this works out for him, he gets some enormous deal out of this, then he's going to be just fine. And he may very well be a trendsetter. They said, look, one of the big things that developed was that like this desire for there to be like a layer between management and the player so that they didn't have to just sort of sit in a room and be like, this is what we actually think about you.
Right.
You let the agent do that, and then there's no hard feelings when it's over. And Lamar might be a guy who just doesn't care.
Yeah, there are things that are going to be important to have an agent for. But Elvis Dumerville's agent dropped the ball, cost him was it like $40 million over 2 years?
Yep.
Because he sent in paperwork late, and the Denver Broncos cut him. He ended up playing instead of for $22 million over the next 2 years. He ended up playing for $2 million. So agents sometimes get in the way. I think that if you saw what happened here with Jimmy Sexton and Scott Satterfield, that was a mishandling of the client. I don't think Scott Satterfield ever actually looked at leaving Louisville for South Carolina, but the fans,
he did something that looked like he was.
Made it look like he was.
Yep.
I think the fans have obviously reacted in a way that I don't think Satterfield anticipated or wanted and wished never happened. But he listened to his agent, and that happened. So there are advantages to not having an agent. You don't have to pay him the money.
Right.
But,
obviously. Right.
But let's say mom is your agent, and she misses a deadline. And now you, instead of making $22 million, you're only making $2 million. then that could potentially be a $20 million error. And in the case of Elvis Duberville, that actually happened to a player that went to school here. I'm sure there's stories like that all over the NFL. So there are advantages to having an agent, a good one, and there are advantages to not having an agent too.
For what it's worth, on this appearance, he did say, basically short of Mahomes, which is going to be its own thing for a really long time, he thinks that Lamar will sign the largest deal ever, except for Mahomes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like per year, annually?
And I think I saw PFF speculated like 4 years. By the way, a couple people saying the radio signal dropped, Pat, if you want to check on that. 4 years, $166 million or so.
Okay.
Would be in the range
4
there.
Years.
Yeah, so 40-something million a year. Good for you,
That's
Lamar,
a huge
right?
amount of money. If you were his agent and they offered you $38 million every year annually over a 10-year period, would you take that over the 166 over 4?
Probably. Yep. I mean, I think I'd rather have Mahomes just because then they can't move on from you after just a couple of years.
That's my whole thing is like, it's obviously a huge amount of money, 166 over 4. And if he's healthy on the other side of the 4, then obviously you're going to make more money doing the 166. But if you're not healthy, the 10-year deal is a better deal, clearly, right?
Well, there's no risk there.
There's no risk.
Right.
And then you kind of tamp down also the salary cap, so you get better players around you, things like that. You're secure, the team's secure, everybody's feeling really good about things. I'd be tempted if I was Lamar to go for the 380 over 10.
But I don't think Baltimore's going to do that.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. And look, it makes sense for them to not do that. It makes sense for them to not want to commit to him, his style of play that far into the future. I get that.
Yeah, I can see that too. So we'll see what happens here. But like back to Louisville though, I'm excited about the players that they added because they needed a defensive back. They got Trey Franklin. They needed a quarterback. They got Brock Doman or Doman, however you say it. And then this wide receiver that they got over the weekend.
Chance Morrow.
Now,
this is a kid who was a high school kid, so he'll be on the team next year.
2022 class.
6'6" wide receiver. Look, I think that they've been looking for a big outside guy.
Is that a Charlotte?
Yes. They've been looking for one big outside guy and then one, I think, speedier guy for this class because, look, they don't have a lot of scholarships available this year. I mean, by all accounts, the kid was highly thought of. He's a really good athlete in multiple sports. Played basketball, too.
Yeah, 6'6", I'd hope so.
I mean, he catches the ball extremely well for a big, tall wide receiver. Kind of reminds me of Seth Dawkins.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's bigger than. Well, he's taller than Seth, not as big. Seth was a big body guy. We'll see how Chance Morrow, grows into his body as he's a senior in high school today. But had offers from his offer sheet, at least on 24/7, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Miami, and then Louisville, recruited by Gunnar Brewer. Hadn't talked to Coach Brewer about him, or anything like that.
But it's the actual signal they're saying, but the stream's good.
The stream is good. Right. The radio signal's not. So
all right, yeah, we're working on it.
Working on it, guys.
Well,
Pat's been working. Yeah, we might as well take a break and let Pat breathe for a second.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll take a break here. Everyone catch their breath. See if we can get the signal going. Oh, no, not sure what we did. We're on a Monday. We got a case of the Mondays.
To the Mondays.
On the drive, nothing. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive, presented by Fitness Market, right here on 93.9 The Ville. Now, here's Mark Ennis and Mark Blankenbaker.
Welcome back into The Drive here on 93.9 The Ville. Mark Ennis, Mark Blankenbaker. We appreciate you guys bearing with us here with technical issues with the radio signal, but the stream is working. So download the ESPN Louisville app. Go to 93.9theville.com. You can listen to us there. Hopefully you can hear us. Raise your hand if you can't hear me, right? Like this is that, right? Yeah, I know.
Does Ennis exist?
No.
The signal.
I don't. I'm Kaiser Soze.
Do I exist?
Yes.
That got heavy, guys.
You like that?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, we got super philosophical like real fast. We're despondent over stupid France blowing a 3-1 lead. Come on.
They're still playing in this France-Switzerland game.
This is incredible. 81-50-93-9. Can you see Pat had dubbed for us? I wanted to play this for you. Scottie Pippen on with Dan Patrick, and he has been doing lately So heavy promotional work for this bourbon of his that is coming out.
Scottie Pippen bourbon?
Yeah, he has a bourbon that's coming out, and he's been doing Leverage Art Joe, Dan Patrick, all these various podcasts, all sorts of things. And Scotty's in a bad place. I don't know how else to say it. And so you got it there, Nick? Okay, let me know when you've got that. He was talking about his time with Phil Jackson, and I would think that they had a good relationship, even with the whole Tony Kukoc thing that happened. That they were so incredibly successful that they went on and won multiple championships after that happened. Yeah. That they would have a good working relationship there, but apparently they don't. And in the course of this interview, he was being asked about that play in particular. Where because it sort of flared back up over the weekend because he made some comments in the GQ interview about Kevin Durant.
Right, he did. I saw those.
And he was pretty harsh and probably didn't watch much of the series there, so I don't think he would have said what he said. It was like Kevin Durant didn't rely on his teammates and stuff, and it was like, who?
What are you talking about?
Bruce Brown?
Yeah, what is going on with Scottie Pippen?
So, I think there's a lot going on with him, and it might explain what's going on with him. But in the course, he said that, and then Kevin Durant immediately got on Twitter and was like, "Oh, you going to talk about me? Weren't you the guy that didn't want to go in and take a shot because you were in your feelings because coach called play for somebody else?"
Right. Yeah.
And Kevin Durant, by the way, spent this whole weekend just sort of crushing everybody.
Oh, he did.
Oh, he was killing KD and all these various people, reporters and such. Jackie McMullen. And what Jackie McMullen said wasn't even bad. All she said, I'm hearing, that Kevin Durant he thinks he can win 3 championships in Brooklyn. And Kevin Durant's like, I don't talk like that.
Right.
And we don't have a relationship where she would even be able to say that. And she didn't say she heard it from him.
She said that she's hearing that.
Yeah, so it was a sourced report, and Kevin Durant has time. Right?
He's got time for everything.
Well, that's true. That dude, he is online.
He's got fake accounts.
He is extremely online.
He's either playing basketball or he's scrolling Twitter.
Pat said he had already dubbed it.
I have the full thing. Is that what you wanted?
Well, let's just play the beginning. Well, and we'll cut it off when I tell you, all right? So he's on with Dan Patrick, asked about that play since Kevin Durant made an issue of it. We're about to do penalty kicks here.
Oh, okay.
So here's what Scottie Pippen had to say with Dan Patrick. Listen to this.
Understand the GQ article where you talked about the 1994 playoff game when you refused to go back in the game and Phil set up the play for Tony Kukoc.
Well, I mean, it's not much to be said if you go back and look at when Scottie Pippen entered the Bulls and when Tony Kukoc entered the Bulls and who deserved the last shot of the game.
No, I understand that, Scotty. I'm just going by what you said. You said you need to read between the fine lines, and then you go on to say it was a racial move to give him, Tony Kukoc, a ride. So,
well, I mean, if you knew that Scottie Pippen had been with the Bulls from 87, battled through the Pistons and every other team that we had to get to those 3 championships, wouldn't you give Scottie Pippen one opportunity to get a last-second shot without Michael Jordan? Like, 1 year without Michael Jordan. Can I get one shot? Like, I'm doing all the dirty work.
But all of that I understand from the basketball standpoint. But when you say a racial move...
Well, why would Tony, who was a rookie, get the last-second shot and you put me out of bounds? That's what I mean, racial. Like, that was Scottie Pippen's team.
But
Scottie
Phil
Pippen
then
was on pace to be an MVP that year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why would you put him in a position not to be successful? Why wouldn't you put him in a position to succeed? Michael Jordan is not there. So who's next in line for you?
But have you talked to Phil about this? Because by saying a racial move, then you're calling Phil a racist.
I don't got a problem with that.
Do you think Phil was or is?
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you remember Phil Jackson left the Lakers, wrote a book on Kobe Bryant, and then came back and coached him? I mean, who would do that? You name someone in professional sports that would do that, you know? I think he tried to expose Kobe in a way that he shouldn't have. You're the head coach, and you're the guy that sits in the locker room and tells the players, this is a circle, and everything stays within the circle because that's what team is about. But you as the head coach, open it up. And now you go out and you try to belittle, at that time, probably one of the greatest players in the game.
All right, that's he goes on for another minute or two there, but
that's some heavy
that's
stuff.
A lot right there. First of all, it is remarkable to me, and this is not really a judgment because I think obviously in some ways it's what makes these guys what they are. But like Shaq, for instance, is forever still trying to remind everybody how great he is, and that whole Last Dance documentary was Michael Jordan reminding everybody just how great he was.
That's right.
After all of this, and even not even being totally self-aware sometimes, in sort of how some of the things made him look.
Right.
But for Scotty, we're 27 years ago.
Right.
27 years ago, and they won 3 championships after this thing that we're talking about. And he's still mad about it.
He is pissed.
He's still, I mean, yes, it bothers him still. I'll be honest with you. I don't know Phil Jackson at all, obviously. I don't know him at all. I have no idea if Phil Jackson is a racist or not. I have a hard time.
It'd be tough to do what he did.
Won a million championships in the NBA
right.
and be a racist. I do, though, worry about Scottie Pippen.
That's how I took it, too. I'm like, what's going on with this guy? And I mean, he holds grudges like Michael Jordan holds grudges.
And I wonder if that, I wonder if that's like, especially with NBA players because it's so much more individually focused. But it does seem like that's like a common thing. Like they remember all this crap.
Remember everything.
Yes. But Scotty, he's not in a good place. Now we're talking about a guy who just very publicly, his wife left him.
Oh, she did.
And he had a son die very recently.
Oh no.
And I'm this guy is doing multiple interviews all over the place, saying some incredibly rough things about very prominent people. Phil Jackson, I'd be furious.
Yeah, I'd be furious too. I wonder if Phil's reached out to him, after some of these interviews. But it definitely, Dan Patrick was kind of pushing him there. Just wanted to get some clarity.
Dan Patrick is so good at his job.
He's really good at it.
To be non-reactive like that, so the Scotty doesn't sort of ratchet it up or get defensive or shut it down.
Are you saying then that Phil Jackson is a racist? Is that what you're saying?
You almost, like that. It's like a therapist, where you don't be reactive so the person will keep talking.
Just clear it up for me.
Yeah, he lets Scotty talk, man.
So, yeah, I mean.
Doesn't seem like he's in a very good place, though.
Maybe Scotty just needs to take a minute, see a therapist. Maybe that's something that he needs. But if he really does feel that way, then man, that sucks because I really love the Bulls run, and Phil Jackson was a big part of that, and Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan and all the guys that kind of came in and out from John Paxson to Steve Kerr and Bill Cartwright and Horace Grant and all those guys that were just a really that was the team that we watched. Will Perdue used to be in our building a lot, so I have a hard time believing that the Tony Kukoc decision was some deeply embedded racism that Phil Jackson harbored.
Well, it's obvious though that Scotty feels
that way,
betrayed.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
Yeah, he wouldn't even go in the game.
Well, right, and he still feels like that was my chance. I think that was my chance to be the guy who took that shot.
Yeah.
After waiting, for all the years where Michael was the guy who always took that shot.
But sometimes in basketball you run misdirection.
Well, and look, it does. It does continue on just a little bit. We don't have to play, but he does. Dan Patrick does a great job challenging him and say, "Look, when you played Phoenix in the finals, didn't you run a play for Steve Kerr? Where Michael Jordan kicked it out to Steve Kerr,
right?
And
John Paxson hit one.
Well,
yeah,
right. Well, and
was that a 91 or 92? 91, 92. John Paxson hit a game winner.
Yeah, well, so does Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Remember in the Last Dance, he was like, "You better not miss."
Sure.
And he didn't. Right. And then, Steve Kerr made jokes about it at the podium, at the celebration, remember, in front of everybody. That I'm amazed at NBA players in particular. And again, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that you get one really great when your team just completely changes. The need. Like, these guys are needy. Like, Kevin Durant is just forever parked up online. Just, I'm going to correct everybody, everything, all the time. He responded to a guy, his Twitter handle was like teabags. Something or other, it's ridiculous. Why does he care what that guy thinks? But They'll carry grudges, man.
They carry him. And now, by the way, Paxson hit the game-winning shot of the Game 6 in the 93 finals. That won that series. And it was assisted by Jordan. So, like,
so was the Kerwin.
So was Kerr. So that's tough. That's tough.
He does not seem to be in a good place, though.
It is a team game. I realize there are individual egos.
He's talking about himself third person and all that.
He never referred to himself as me or I or anything. It was always Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen wants you to know that he is Scottie Pippen.
But there's a certain amount of it or level of this where, like, this, to me, it's depressing that a guy can be this successful. We're talking about consensus, right? A Hall of Fame player, one of the greatest players of all time, on what we all consider to be outside of what that crazy Celtics run that none of us have any memory of, as like the run in the history of the NBA. That team could not lose when they got to the finals. And this dude is that's the thing that's stuck in his, like, that wasn't enough for him to not be upset by that.
It's really upsetting, but I really hope that, number one, Phil Jackson isn't racist, and I don't think that he is. But at the same time, I hope Scottie Pippen kind of gets back to a place
maybe he
where,
is. Maybe he is. But is calling a play for Tony Kukoc proof of that?
That's not really proof,
right?
But it seems like he's picking really extreme examples of, or not extreme examples of something to kind of prove his point that Phil Jackson is what he needs him to be.
Right.
And by the way, how's this sell any bourbon?
Well, it's a great point. I don't disagree with that one bit.
Like, how's it selling any bourbon? Like,
doesn't sell anything.
What is the name of this
Right.
bourbon? Digits 5-year-old bourbon exclusively in Chicago.
I had no idea it was a bourbon tour. But Jack and I were listening to this in the back going, holy spit. And then I had no idea that I thought he was just, hopping on talking NBA. But no idea it was a media.
But go name, image, and likeness real quick. Player doesn't get a shot. At the end of the game, he does an appearance. He's crushing John Calipari. And, what does that look like now?
Well, I mean, Scottie feels, it's obvious he feels he's aggrieved. I guess for him, like, it had to be something super, like, major, right? Like, there has to be something super wrong with Phil that he wouldn't call that shot for me. It's not enough to just be like, I thought Tony would make it. It has to be race.
Wow. That's like,
I'm worried about Scottie Pippen. I don't think he sounds good.
It doesn't sound good. No, I mean, you're going to run plays for Tony Kukoc. You're going to run them from Jordan. They're going to run them for Scottie Pippen. They're going to run them for John Paxson and Steve Kerr and Horace
Poor
Grant.
Tony Kukoc made that shot.
He made it. Y'all won the game.
As a rookie, he wins
a
last-second game-winning shot in the Eastern Conference Finals. He makes it.
I mean, my thing is
just over here catching strays.
I want to win games. That's what I want to do. I want to win games. So that's tough, man. But to harbor that feeling, because he played, did he play for Phil after that? Right?
No.
Oh, he didn't.
No.
That was the end of it?
Yeah.
Okay. My timeline's all jumbled here. I had Paxson winning the 92 finals, not the 93 finals.
It's hard to keep all that stuff straight, though.
When they win 6 of them, it's hard.
But that's rough to hear. That's just not a guy that is not. And look, again, a son dies suddenly, a very kind of ugly public divorce, and he's trying to roll out a bourbon here. This just doesn't sound like a guy in a very good place mentally.
It is tough to hear, and if you're having any trouble hearing, you can go see our friends over there at Louisville Family Audiology. Go see them at LouisvilleFamilyAudiology.com. They'll give you a comprehensive and complimentary hearing evaluation. I did that in December. It's on my annual checklist of skin exam, eye exam, dentist, biannually, getting my hearing checked. You don't realize that you have hearing loss for up to 5 years once it begins. And, if you go to Louisville Family Audiology, they'll check you out. And you'll make sure that you stay on the up and up. And if you do need any help, they have great options for you over there at Louisville Family Audiology. Give them a call.
You surprised at the report over the weekend that Penny Hardaway interviewed for the head coaching job with the Orlando Magic?
Yes, because number one, Orlando seems like a place that you go to get fired. That does not seem like a place where you're going to stay there. If Phil Jackson probably gets fired from the Orlando Magic, by the way, and Greg Popovich too. Everybody's good. It's not a place to be successful. I realized that Penny played there. He was drafted there, and he was Lil Penny there. But I see Memphis as a place where he can actually build something. The way he's recruited, the way they love him there. I wouldn't leave a place where I'm beloved to go to a place where they just can't wait to fire the next guy.
Well, look, you are hired to get fired in the NBA.
Yeah.
For sure. Guys get fired at the drop of a hat, and I would totally agree with you on this. It seems like, we talked about that, Philadelphia, trust the process and all that, and the Orlando Magic just sort of seem to be perpetually in that.
Yeah.
They had a couple good years with the Shaq Penny team. They had the Dwight Howard, that little run that went to the finals.
A real owner right
but
now.
They are a terrible franchise.
They're an awful franchise. And I don't know if you follow John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan on Twitter. There's always a big push for him to try to get new ownership in there, and people will tell him he should buy it and stuff like that. But really, they do need a legit owner.
France just lost.
Again.
On penalty kicks.
Yeah. That's
a save on the last penalty kick.
Go Switzerland. Good job, Swiss.
Shut your mouth.
Eat some Swiss cheese tonight in celebration. Do they make Swiss cheese in Switzerland?
I feel like that's a good indicator.
Do you think it is? Why are there always
Can we save
holes?
that for the mixtape, please?
Why are there
100%.
always holes in it? I never understood that. Like there's
no
all
idea.
Sorts of holes in the cheese.
Did you
just make why
I realized that the signal was down, but did you really just ask, do they make Swiss cheese in Switzerland?
I feel like we make Swiss cheese in the United States, don't we?
But
it only comes
the
from
origins.
Yeah, Swiss cheese.
French bread, we make it here too. But it started in France.
I think you could say that the French were like Swiss cheese today, full of holes.
They are now. Dang it. That's not really much of a recovery. I'm so bothered by this. I can't believe you. I'm mad that the French are out.
Are we down permanently now?
I hope so. Can we break the signal so that nobody else has to hear any of this?
Poor Patty has been putting out fires, and we're just.
And I've got Mark in here asking if Swiss cheese is from Switzerland.
This is why you got the signal back up, Pat, for me to talk about Swiss cheese.
Oh, blank, thank you. We needed that.
It's to make France, Switzerland, Swiss cheese corollaries after they lose to the Swiss.
That was an incredible quarter of radio from Blank.
You're welcome.
The seamless transition. I hear it all the time when I'm driving around, but to see it happen, the seamless transition into the audiology read, fantastic.
You're welcome.
That was terrific. And then
this is
the Swiss
the man's
cheese
skill
thing.
is that.
Oh my God. It's like listening to Jimi Hendrix, but then actually seeing it performed live.
So just so you guys know, Swiss cheese is made in Switzerland.
Thank you.
There's over 450 types. They also make Swiss cheese all over the Alpine region and including in the United States. So they make Swiss cheese everywhere.
Mark, no one thinks Swiss cheese is all made in Switzerland.
So if you were wondering, it's not. There you go.
Unbelievable. Thank you for the clarification.
There is holes in all Swiss cheese, but I don't know why there are holes in Swiss cheese.
That's actually interesting. I think it has something to do with the way it's cooked, like the air.
I haven't figured that out.
I think I remember reading this one time. I fell down a cheese wormhole, Mark. We're kindred spirits right now, man.
Yeah. Then you say, why are there holes? And then it fills in Swiss cheese. It says that they're created by flecks of hay.
Oh, stop it. We're not doing this.
There are microscopically small hay particles that would fall in buckets collecting milk and develop into bigger holes as the cheese matures.
I hate this.
I'm actually enjoying this. I got to be honest.
Flecks of hay.
What is a fleck of hay?
You guess? I don't know. It's a microscopically small hay particle that develops into a large particle as
Why
the
is there
cheese
hay
matures.
anywhere near cheese?
Look, I don't understand.
Is a fleck of hay enough to make you test positive? I'm just wondering.
How many picograms is a fleck?
That's what Bob Average should go in there and say. It was flecks of hay.
I mean, I'll see if I can find out how many picograms are in a fleck.
Oh my God.
How many grams are a fleck? How many grams in a fleck?
I don't think fleck is metric. I think that might be.
Or we could start with what is a fleck.
Texas says the holes are from mice.
Not true. A fleck is a very small patch of color or light.
You think?
A mark or dot with small patches or color or particles of something. I don't know.
You might be fired.
A small bit of
Where
a
the
fleck
hell's
of dirt.
our Marconi?
I'm saying, you might be suspended. You might have to suspend you for Friday. This is terrible.
I only did it because I wanted to.
Like, how badly do you not want to talk about Penny Hardaway that we're doing
Swiss
this?
cheese?
Is that what it
I wanted
is?
to have
Is
holes
that what it
of
is?
Swiss cheese into France to dunk on the French.
Like,
losing
we started talking
because they
about
lost
Penny
to the
Hardaway
Swiss,
interviewing with the Magic, and you're like, no,
France
hey.
was up 3-1 and they lost.
I know.
In penalty kicks, and you had France.
I know.
So it was my way of celebrating your loss
by wrecking my show.
I don't want to what's there more to talk about Penny Hardaway? What do you
why?
want to talk about?
Why are they interviewing him? They don't do anything.
Well, maybe
Memphis hasn't been any good.
Is Lil Penny coming back? Spike Lee. They have a marketing campaign they want to jump on and
this is what I'm saying though. Like if you're the Magic and you're terrible, right? Like we're restarting here, we're rebooting. They don't win anything.
They don't win.
Like
anything.
what kind of this hire wouldn't inspire
when was the last time
me?
they were relevant?
Well, not since he's been there.
Him and Shaq, that was it. When was the last? No,
the Dwight Howard team into the finals. Remember?
Oh, they did. That's right.
Jameer Nelson, Dwight Howard, Ryan Anderson. Right? Yeah.
I totally forgot about that team.
They lost.
That was the last time Dwight Howard was probably any good.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yes. Then he forced his way out, went to L.A. and acted like a baby.
Who owns the Magic right now?
It used to be Pat Williams, right?
Did he die?
The Amway guy.
Did he pass away?
I think so. Any other questions you want to ask me on the air instead of talking about Penny Hardaway? What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out stuff. Penny Hardaway, I mean, I think he should stay at Memphis. He's proven that he can recruit there. They've had some decent seasons there. Who else are they going to get?
Who? Memphis?
Yeah. And
I have no idea. Damon Stoudemire.
You go to
Stoudemire. That's the
Damon Stoudemire?
Yeah, that's the name.
Is he coaching at Pacific?
He is.
He's
been there though. Like he's beloved. He would be next.
Okay.
But I
the Magic, you go get fired at the Magic.
But you make a ton of money, right? Like that's the gamble that you make.
How much more money do you make as an NBA coach over a college coach?
A lot. Oh, a
ton.
Tons. He's multiples, doubles.
He's making like $2.5 million a year at Memphis. So you think he's making 5-6 with the Orlando Magic?
Oh, I would think so. I mean, these NBA coaches make 5-6 million, sure, for sure.
And so if you play that out though, if you go from Memphis, you're making 2.5. You make 5 with Orlando. Maybe you make $5 million.
And then you just spend the rest of your career, even if you get fired after 3 seasons, just spinning around on coaching staffs. Right? That's what they all do.
So you're just
do
taking
the Mike
gamble
D'Antoni
that you're going to get recycled over and over and over. You're going to be a Van Gundy.
I mean, look, I don't want to begrudge anybody for getting a job, even if they're undeserved, because there are plenty of the D'Antoni, the retreads in the NBA, right? Like sort of keep hiring and firing the same 4 or 5 guys over and over again. Like I'm tired of that too. I get it.
Well, Lane Kiffin spun his wheels until he actually got good.
He got better. That's what I mean. He improved. No,
but eventually he figured it out.
My thing, I wonder, like, is this Penny's being like, I'm not even going to screw around with the IRP. Screw college. I'm out.
Oh, maybe that's it. He's like, but.
Instead of waiting around.
Name, image, and likeness, I would think that Penny would be able to really kind of capitalize on that.
You would think. But he's already sort of in the sling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he could pay for James Wiseman's family to move from Nashville to Memphis. No problem. He could get a moving company to do that. You know, and it'd be out of pocket, no big deal. That would have been no problem. Like, they could have easily done that. James Wiseman plays the whole season. They're probably a lot better, probably a 3 or 4 seed that year, make a run in the NCAA tournament.
By the way, Golden State are already rumored to be trying to move on from James Wiseman. They're already done with that dude after 1 year. They're not impressed.
You know, if Penny did move to Orlando, they should get Mark Jackson there.
Listen to you. That dude. You love that guy.
I do like Mark Jackson a lot.
You would think he sponsors you with the way you work him in seamlessly like that.
Well, he was a good coach, and then all of a sudden he's a broadcaster, and he's just stuck in broadcasting. It's like,
he's Steve Kerr is the yen to his yang there. Steve Kerr was a very nice broadcaster, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then, I'm a great coach.
Can we not have both of them in coaching at the same time? Do they?
Well, then who's going to do all the broadcasting?
You could do it, and you would never be a threat to go coach the Warriors.
I mean, I would.
I mean,
I do it for half whatever they're paying Kerr. I'll tell you that much.
Well, for a while, I thought LSU was going to hire me as their baseball coach. I didn't think they were going to be able to hire anybody. I was like, I'll do it. Half of whatever the market is. Sign me up. I mean, I could do that. I get fired.
What's a baseball coach do anyway?
You take them out. Bunt. Steal.
Lots of sign language.
Yeah, what's Dan doing anyway?
You've got to yell at officials. If only there was someone at the studio that had a pretense
No
to
wonder
do that.
you wanted to coach baseball.
Well, No, I don't. I don't think I'd do a lot of official yelling.
What?
I think I'd have my assistant coaches do it for me.
Earlier, you just said you love Fran McCaffrey because of how rough he is on officials, but you wouldn't be one like that.
Well, I don't yell at them in person anyway. I just put it all on Twitter. We've gone all over this before.
That's
like
fair.
I would just rip the officials from my Twitter account, be like, "That was a terrible strikeout call."
Would you tweet during a game?
It would be hard not to.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
It would not. It would be hard not to. That's what Penny Hardaway needs to do. He needs to tweet during games. Come to Memphis.
He turns around, he's taking a selfie like the Tour de France girl.
Come to Memphis.
Got run over.
Yeah. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic.
I would pay so much to see.
Me too.
To see Blank tweet something nasty on Twitter, and then the ump just go, "What the?" and just toss him.
Just
after looking down at his.
He gets the notification.
The ump got a notification. Get out of here. I wonder if Penny Hardaway eats Swiss cheese. I wonder if
he's about to be able to afford a lot of it. All right, that's going to do it for us here. We'll wrap things up here. Hopefully, we'll get signal issues taken care of here eventually here pretty soon. But
overnight.
That's going to do it for us here. We'll be back at it tomorrow on the Drive on 9th and the Ville.